Hello and welcome to another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm your host, Shay Wheat, and today's guest is coming to us all the way from Costa Rica, which is pretty phenomenal and amazing because we were just talking ahead of time that there's so many great retreats and events and things that happen there. But I digress. Let's get back to Colleen. Colleen Lindberg is a soul mission activator. Soul mission activator, like that alone just sounds pretty epic, and a spiritual guide. Now, her business on earth is to dismantle the conformity infrastructures holding us back so that people can fully embody their potential and their potency and all of their power. Woo! Okay, I think we've got some things to talk about. So please welcome to the stage, Colleen. What's going on, Colleen?
Oh my gosh, Shay. I was like, who wrote this bio? I love it. I know. Oh my God, so many things are going on. And just like you said, like Costa Rica is like a vibe all on its own,
All on its own, like that in itself, just being in that energy is something that's automatically going to probably put you on purpose and impacting the world automatically. But I would love for us to kind of touch in and dive into a couple of things. I was mentioning before we started recording here that people like to see the behind the scenes and they like to see like, how do we continue to scale and grow? And I think part of your story is really fascinating because it's also partly what it is that you do in the world. Mm-hmm. And I love the way that you go about it and how you embody it and things of that nature. So I think my first question really for you is, how does somebody kind of go, oh, this is my purpose, this is the impact that I'm going to make in the world? And if they don't know what that is, how can we start honing into that?
Yeah. And I think this is like such a great way to like lead off and like have this conversation, because I've been in business for 14 years and I came out of the gate in entrepreneurship as like the business coach, pragmatic business consulting, leadership development, culture management. I probably would have hired your company to help my clients create events, because I was all into scaling and franchising and all this juiciness, right? And very much rooted in the earth plane, I call it, and rooted in pragmatic energy.
Yeah.
And at the same time that I started that company, I literally was running alongside on the other highway of spiritual development. And I got my first spiritual mentor. I took all these courses for fun. Closet spiritual person, you didn't know unless you were in my like tight network. And life was good. I was running a 6-figure business. I was doing well in life, but it always felt like I was pushing the needle. It always felt like I had to create more. I was chasing something. Like it wasn't easy. Like it never felt easy for me. And like, I never felt like I could really like breathe into that. I was really good at what I did. It was intuitive for me. I didn't know at the time I actually was channeling a lot of the work, but it always felt like there was something off. But meanwhile, this like percolating energy kept moving through me on the spiritual side and helping people really understand the messages and hone into their intuition and trust themselves. And this, let's say, weaving energy started moving through me. And it was in 2020 that I came to like this crossroad where I knew I couldn't any longer just do the business coaching side, that I was being drawn to step into the spiritual work and the spiritual development and really honing in on helping people like understand their mission on earth and then scale their businesses around the mission. So instead of fitting in the box and working in the box that I'd been working in, or following that successful mentor, or doing it exactly like your business coach says to do it, and that you can only do it this way, really following that pull inside. So I had to exemplify that. So I started to step in and trust, and it super sucked at the beginning because I doubted a lot. Are you sure we can make money at this? Are you sure this is a thing? Like, is anyone going to purchase
sure
stuff?
People are going to show up? Like,
yeah,
are they going to say this is interesting? Yes.
They're like, is she crazy? Like, what do you mean she's talking to Isis and like she's like tapping into dragons? Like, I do a lot of that kind of work too. And I was like, okay, I got to keep trusting. And then it took me about 1.5 years of like floundering around still, because I was trying to be half in both containers. I was trying to wave the line, and I was like, but I'm making like really good money over here. And what if these clients are not going to accept me over here? And it came to the point where I just had to surrender and trust. And when I did, it's like everything collapsed in beautiful ways. Like all the people that were meant to be serving me and me serving them in that energy stayed around. Then I started attracting these beautiful people, and like just the whole brand expanded from there. So it's been really kind of cool.
So it wasn't until you released and surrendered and stepped into it fully that which no longer served went away.
Yeah.
And that which did serve showed up stronger and more impactful. And then tell us the rest of it. Like, how is it then? Like, are you able to like continue the business and have it growing? Are you doing the same amount of hours in a day? Like, what is it looking like now?
Yeah. So everything completely changed. So I work way less hours. So let's say back in the business coaching world, 6 days a week for sure, 10, 12-hour days, hustling, pushing it out. Now, granted, the energy of the world was a lot different then too. Like we were going to a lot of meetings and we were having a lot of coffee dates, and then like Zoom kind of allowed us to pull back a bit to be able to maximize time, but still, now I make more money now than I ever have in that business structure, working less time. Everything feels juicy. I use the word juicy because I like just imagine like biting into a peach every time I say it. And just like, I love peaches. So everything like feels juicy and I'm aligned, and it's like nothing, when it drops in and I take action on it, it like surprises me all the time. I'm like, oh my God, and the results people are getting and the way that they're tapped into themselves. And I'm like, this is a lot of fun. Like, this is a lot of fun. And I'm like, that's what it feels like to be in this alignment, in this lane. And sure, I'm a human. I have challenges too. I go through my stuff. We all will, but it feels different. I'm no longer pushing. Like random stuff happens to me all the time. I call it random. It's never random. Right. And I'm just like, it's just the beautiful connections and everything just starts to move. And yeah, so today, literally, I may work 3 hours officially a day, 4 hours, maybe 4 days a week. Now I actually blocked off 2 days in my calendar every week because I'm like, I want to go explore a little bit and do some stuff. It doesn't mean at night I may not jump in and get a podcast up or create some content or whatever that is, but officially 3 days a week is where I'm taking calls, doing meetings and stuff like that. And the money keeps building, like it keeps coming in. So
yeah, I love that you're like, oh, things just pop up. And I was just having that same conversation with somebody else where it's like it boggles my mind every single time, right? Yeah. It's like they just show up, or it's like, oh my gosh, that's really in alignment, or what have you. And you're like, well, of course it is. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
when you're tapped into it, but it still gets me every single time. But when you're in alignment, that's how it works, is my understanding, right?
Exactly how it works. Yeah.
So like maybe dive in a little bit deeper of, what does an aligned business feel like?
Yeah, such a great question. Well, and also too, like, we hear the whisper is how I really define this. It's like you've been thinking about or feeling about some move that you're desiring to make. So if you're in business, which a lot of the people listening to this are going to be most likely, right? So you have been hearing this drop in. Maybe I should create that product. Maybe I should change that program. Maybe I should lean more into this. Maybe I should completely change that and move into something else. And I call it that whisper. And when we actually step into the whisper and we move into the whisper, trusting and surrendering into that, everything, it's like we breathe again. So the things that used to feel hard no longer are hard because they're aligned in a new energy, right? And I really like the main energy I can describe it as is that it's easy and simple. It doesn't mean that we don't have our own, oh my God, tech's not working, or that person didn't show up for work, or whatever it is. We still have those, but it's almost like we can take it on more and it feels different. And then the flow of creativity drops in. So it means like when we're aligned, all of a sudden it's like, boom, boom, boom. All these ideas start to come. Let's create an event. Let's do that. Let's launch a podcast. Let's move that through. Let's make that call. Right. And it's like, when we are aligned, then the aligned action starts to drop in to serve us in the mission that we're on to actually execute, to create the impact in the world that we are craving to create. because we all want to serve people. We get into business for that. And some people get into business originally to make money or for their own time freedom. But over time, they start to realize what their services and products actually do in the world. And now they're led by the impact. They're led by that, like that ripple effect into humanity, right? And so inside of that, though, imagine the ripple effect in your own energy. Every time you take an aligned action, you step in and go boom, and it goes boom, and it goes boom, and everywhere it just starts to grow and grow. And then you're sitting back, you know, doing events for Lisa Nichols, or you're sitting back going, oh my God, I can't believe I just talked to that person at like, and that's life. Like that's life. That's not even outside the scope of like unnormal. That is what we live and breathe within. So
yeah, so true. Now, if somebody is listening and they're going, Colleen, I'm not really hearing the whisper. I mean, I'm feeling like this is not it. I'm feeling that something needs to change. I'm feeling that, you know, it used to be in alignment, but now not so much, but I don't necessarily know what next looks like or what is the alignment now. What would you say to them?
So we could lead this two ways. So we could either drop in fully to hear it. So I do this exercise with clients, with people all the time. It's like, if you close your eyes and breathe, so you just ground into your body, and then imagine your heart opening, because our soul resides in our heart. Our connection to our higher self is here. Everything's here. And just imagine your heart opening. And then if you ask, once you ground in and you feel comfortable and you're present and all that stuff, ask yourself the question, where am I actually being led to next? Or what is my next step in business? Or what does alignment look like for me? Any of those questions in your own way as well, whatever makes the most sense for your words, drop into that and then listen or see, because some of you guys may get a visual and you may see it, right? Not everyone hears, they see, feel what that dynamic is, and then start to lean into that. Or you can go another route, which is more pragmatic. What do you know right now that is not feeling juicy in your energy? And write a list of all of it. So some of it you need in your business, like taxes don't feel juicy for me, but I can delegate that because I can't get away from it, you know, but looking at the money feels juicy because I can see the expansion part. I can see where it goes, how I circulate it, right? But I don't want to be doing my taxes. So, but someone else, that's juicy for them. So let's give them the juice, right? But there's other dynamics. Like I really don't like leading this program. I had a program that I called the Aligned Business Accelerator that I've led for like a year, four times a year. And this year I did one in January and I went, this is no longer feeling juicy anymore.
It's no longer aligned.
Yeah. So I was, so like it's Aligned Business Accelerator that I know, and I'm like, I'm no longer, unless you're in one-to-one containers with me, leading in the business structure side. I'm working a lot in the energetics and the spiritual dynamic aspect. And I trust that I can let that go, even though 14 years I've been in that wheelhouse and game, but I know where my impact is now. Like the amount of stuff I can clear in real time, like it's just like crazy, the spiritual stuff that I can do. Short periods of time, really dense energy, let's get it out, let's get in, like, you know, and that stuff. But it's like, you know, Shay, like, you know, but you are maybe denying it, or you're like, that's not possible, or you're procrastinating on it, or you're like, it can't be. You know,
and like to see it, feel it, hear it, experience it. Like it's like numb, right?
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of us have come out through pandemic still feeling numb.
Absolutely. And trying to figure out who we really are now. Like it's almost like we had the moments of time to like sit with ourselves. And some of us were like, wow, and didn't want to even go there. Where others, I was like sucking it up. You know, like how do I figure this out? I got time, you know, like before I didn't have time. And now I'm like, I always want time. Like, you know, so it's interesting to see the dynamic shift, but go into the, like, I don't know. What do I know for sure that is not feeling good? You know, when I first started a big transition pathway, like 16 years ago in my life, the only thing I knew was I didn't want to be with my ex-boyfriend, and I didn't know what I wanted, but that was the only thing I knew. And that was enough to like start to make changes and then figure it out as I move through. So yeah,
I've had those moments too. Where it's like, yeah, this is okay right now. This is not it. Going forward, right? Yeah,
totally.
So for those that are listening and they're going, okay, I'm open, I'm interested, But there's that little piece of me that's still going, yeah, but I've got a multiple six-figure business now.
Yeah.
How about like letting that bit go? How can I like really be sure that I can like scale a new business if I choose a different direction, or if I, slightly go at a different angle, or, close off like you did, turn off, no longer serve this particular program in my business. And that's like the meat and potatoes of everything that you do.
Yep.
What would you say for that person?
So March of 2022, I made a decision in 2022 that I was going to fully embody all of me. So I go against the typical branding and marketing strategies because obviously I rebel and I'm unique and all of us have our own blueprint. So I wouldn't be authentic if I followed the protocols of all of that. And I sat my mom down and I said to her, Mom, I'm about to own my sexual expression and rebellion in my branding. So I just need you to be prepared because I'm about to launch a masterclass where literally I'm only wearing a thong underwear and you see me from the back, and the masterclass is called Unleashed. Okay. So it makes so much sense. It's about owning your personal power, stepping into this space. And she's like, you do you, what? And she's learned. Okay. 42 years later, I'm like, she finally got it. Okay. I was like, good job, Mom. You did good. And I launched the program. I have never had more people sign up for a masterclass ever in my whole entire life than that masterclass, still to this day. So that alone proved to me the point of when we step in and fully embody this pathway, this mission, this life, who you are, that things will come back and show you. So if you need that proof and you need something more pragmatic, what are you being called to do right now? Don't drop the rest, integrate something in and play. And once you step into that, you're going to know, because I guarantee you, if you're being called to this, it's part of your mission, it will collapse around you, meaning you'll be able to align it and step into it. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. This isn't just, oh, it may be good that I might. No, it's this is power, where your power and your truth lie right at the core of you. That's your impact. That's your magnetic possibility. But we're so scared. What is everyone going to think? How are they going to handle all the things, right? So I knew that my family maybe although most of my family are like, oh, she's crazy anyway. So totally, totally fit the bill. But I was like, Mom, and that proved to me again, stepping in and owning your power. It's exactly what I was teaching. It needs to come from us. So try something. What is on your heart right now? What are you hearing right now? Step in, make it juicy, make sure it's full, you're owning it. Don't surface level and maybe I'm going to try. You got to get in it, be all in. And then see what happens.
No toe in the water. It's jump fully in.
Jump.
But I do like that you were saying you don't necessarily have to stop what it is that you're doing over here, right? Come over here and just play with a piece of it, right? And just start to be in that sphere and that energy, right?
Well, and then it gets easier too, right? So we're going to look at it and then you're going to see once you're in the zone over here playing in one area, the light shines bright over there and you're like, oh my God, I can't even handle that client anymore. Or because it's just the energy is so potent and aligned and juicy over here where you're like, I don't want to sacrifice myself anymore. I want that boundary. I want to hold this space, whatever it is for you. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. Well, is there anything else that you would love to share with us that's kind of the behind the scenes for you and your business, or even for some of your clients as they've started to kind of step into this new space for them and listening to that whisper?
Yeah, the word always that comes through everywhere is courage. So it's going to be tough some days. You're going to be scared sometimes. Some people owning the fact that they're X, Y, and Z. My one client this week is owning she's a medium and she's shit scared of it. I'm like, dude, you talk to spirits every day. You give me voice notes all the time. So this man walked into this place and I was talking with him and he was telling me and man's spirit, she's a medium. She sees spirits. So I'm like, you need to own this online. You need to step into this. And she was shit scared. Yesterday she did. And she made a post and she made a story and she stepped right in. And then she's giving me voice notes. I just need a couple weeks to integrate this. And I'm like, you are playing an old pattern, so I'm just going to say to everybody, there's going to be a time you're going to have to grit in and have courage to trust, have courage to say it anyways, have courage to move it through. But on the other side of it is this beautiful magnetic, magician, whatever it is.
All of it.
The M word, all of it is there. Courage.
Yes, yeah. Courage. Yeah. I mean, one, as business owners, we're already having to have courage to step into becoming a business owner in the first place, right? And then creating multiple 5, multiple 6, moving into, 7 figures and really creating impact in the world. But then it takes another level of courage. I think I was listening to one of my, in my mastermind groups, they call it like the second mountain, right? Like you've climbed the first mountain and then it's like, what got you up the first mountain is not going to get you up the second mountain. No. And so then it's like a whole new ball game.
I'm right there.
I just wanted to get me at the top. I just got here. And they're like, nope, time to change it up.
It's so, well, and it reminds me of like Lord of the Rings, right? Just when you think like you're there and then all of a sudden it's like, no, sorry, you got like 5 more days of walking in the middle of like the volcano. And I'm like, shit. Damn it. I know. Yeah.
Oh my God, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you kind of helping us from the gamut of somebody that's like maybe numb right now. Maybe somebody has got the whisper and still giving them next best steps to support them in listening to what that could be for them, right? Because we know it intuitively. We know it. If we don't listen to it, that's when the message starts getting louder and louder and becoming a little bit more destructive. I mean, I've got family members that didn't listen to the message and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, and you're like, you have to listen now, right? Like, don't get to that point. But if people wanted to stay connected with you, how do they best do that? And do you happen to have a gift for our audience today?
Yeah, I do. So Instagram is like my jam. This is where I show up all the time. Be prepared for bold rebellion energy. Like I swear and everything. So like, have a good time. Come and play in my playground if you're into that. And then, I definitely want to offer out, because I think this is a really great tool for your audience, especially those that are really leaning into owning their next level, stepping into their space, really moving this through, is like the 3 ways to own your truth in business and life. And it's a video training that I recorded specifically for people looking to really lean into their impact in the world and own the purity of who they are. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, great. So we'll definitely have that link in the show notes. Pick that up. But before I let you go, what would you say is a takeaway or memorable note that you would like to leave our audience with today?
Yeah. So life is this beautiful, beautiful, intricate tapestry. And I really want you to understand that you have a mission here on earth and a purpose, and your light is needed in the world right now, in the purity of your light. You don't need to sacrifice yourself any longer. You don't need to keep hustling in the background, and you don't need to keep pushing that boulder up the hill. If you breathe and release and let go and start to trust what you're really here to do, everything will change. And just a reminder that all lights are needed now.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I also want to thank our audience once again for joining us on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm excited for you to take all the lessons that you learned here, grab the resources, start implementing them, and create even more impact in your world. So until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.